Hello, and welcome to Automat Live Coding. This is a programming stream where we write a game automation app called Automat. And I typically start by showing Automat. I've done this many times. If you want to see Automat, check one of the previous episodes. There's plenty of them. We'll probably show it in a couple next minutes. Interesting things are happening. So AI is getting better and better at code generation. And when I work, I code day to day on those streams. My coding is less about solving problems myself, and it's more about telling the AI agent what to do, setting up virtual environments so that it can work on multiple things in parallel and not break its own legs. And just reading a lot of code. I write less, I read more. So the times are changing. I think before, when it was mostly about writing, you can get in this mode where if you do it a lot, and basically do it and even talk about other things. It doesn't really require coding, it doesn't really require much thinking. But this reviewing and, trying to identify gaps in what model is doing, this requires a lot of critical thinking, and this critical thinking is not super entertaining thing to record and stream. So I'm actually thinking, what's the ideal formula for those streams? I feel like part of the reason I'm doing those streams is to actually show how I work, when I develop Automat, so that other people can kind of see how I work and they can do something similar themselves. It's a good place to learn because, I've been coding a lot. I was a professional programmer for many years. And yeah, if somebody wants to start programming, I guess those streams are probably better place than some well-edited and maybe not very representative, almost like coding theaters that are frequently found on YouTube. When somebody prepares what they will be writing ahead of time, it creates very misaligned expectations later on when you actually try to start coding yourself. Anyway, so one of the reasons I'm doing this is to just show the workflow. So if anybody wants to start their own projects or help with Automat, ideally that would be like the outcome that I would like the most. It's easier for them to get started. That's the point. To share tips and tricks of programming. And those tips and tricks are, like I said, more and more about managing AI and spotting issues that the AI is making. Driving AI towards better code structure, towards the things that are important. And I really like how it's developing, personally, because I do enjoy this kind of critical workflow much, much more than, coding and getting stuck in silly bugs like this one. This is a bug that's totally unimportant. This is probably just some clunkiness of how Linux works. But because of this, I cannot really build Automat here. So I will probably in a minute start an AI agent to fix this bug. So I think I will continue doing those streams like that, where I just work and I just, shut up and read whatever AI has produced and I critique it and I explain my reasoning and, we can proceed like that. But I think I will also do a little bit of some creative coding, like visual effects. This is another thing I like. Visual effects are a mix. Sometimes you can use AI there, sometimes you cannot. Some visual effects are very complex and they require some preparation, like setting up a Vulkan window This is something that's much easier done through AI. So yeah, maybe we'll actually do something like this today. Actually, this idea for a new effect based on how guitar strings vibrate. I will see how it goes. Anyway, the plan for today for us is to do exactly what I said. I have prepared a pipeline which is generating new Automat objects kind of automatically. So here you can see an AI agent developing those widgets iteratively. I tried to imbue this agent with as much of visual programming knowledge as possible, and there's a nice book. This is the book. It's by Robert Horn, and it's about visual language design. And Robert Horn really believes in what he says, because there is not a single page in this book where you wouldn't have a picture or like many pictures supporting, the written text. This is how it looks. You can tell that a book is good, that it's well written, if it has lots of pictures. It really shows that somebody has put a lot of effort into, into composing, meaningful, into polishing, their message. This is an excellent book, and it's about, it's kind of meta. It's about, creating those visual languages. So I taught AI, I basically gave it this book in PDF format, and it read it, distilled it, and I told it to really design everything with this knowledge in mind. And it's better than it was. It's still not great. It's still, the designs are very uniform. I actually had to push it a lot before it started generating some variability in the designs. This is how they look. This is one object, a threshold object. Another for posterization, dithering, tons of objects AI has created. But the AI is very strange, because in some regards it's very clever, in other it's very stupid. Like, it was unable to properly clip this window, so it didn't capture half of the object. No. There's lots of those issues. So today we will review the objects that AI has generated. We will prepare follow-up instructions for the AI, and over the coming days the automated pipeline is going to keep improving those objects. The point of those objects, the reason we have those Leptonica objects, those are objects used for image processing. You can see Leptonica screenshots, and those objects, they have a ton of image processing utilities.
Hello, Gunhusses. This is a reminder that TTS only works in English. Please use English in chat. Thank you.
Yeah, I saw what you wrote. Thank you for the kind words. And yeah, so today we are doing those reviews. The style, the visual style of those objects. Oh, we can see AI is doing something. It just fired up another iteration of something. The visual style, I can explain the visual style, because the AI is very bad when it comes to arrangement of things on screen, so things look wonky. So I decided to actually follow this thread and actually exploit it and tell the AI to deliberately design objects in a wonky way. So the objects right now, they are using some special crafted functions which are drawing slightly broken visuals. You know, the background is off-center, lines are wobbly, things are overdrawn. Part of this is deliberate, and part of this are accidental errors on the part of AI. But because this is kind of deliberately wonky, it's kind of hard to tell which parts are deliberately broken and which parts are accidentally broken. So all of the AI work is using this, it's called AI slop style. There are guidelines within Automat sources that explain how to draw style, how to draw new objects in this style. And utility functions.
Oh, sorry. Forgot I have to speak English. Hello, Mr. Merrick.
Hey. So we have the style, and the point of the style is to differentiate polished objects, which are part of regular Automat. And fire up regular Automat. You will see that regular objects, they look very different from those AI-generated ones. Regular objects in Automat use skeuomorphism. They try to be very realistic, like this watch. Now, if we look here, there is a similar object here. So this is a photorealistic watch, this is a slop watch. The difference is meant to show you that those objects, they have been made in a sloppy way, without too much attention to detail. Anyway, so this is the style. There is more. The main job that the automated pipeline is performing is that it is looking for common affordances which are shared across multiple widgets, or similarities in function. If there are multiple widgets which are multiple objects which are performing similar functions, the AI is supposed to try to combine them in some way, or extract the common functions into reusable components. This is the point of visual language. So that common things, the point of visual language is that if you learn something once, if you see something once, you learn it forever. So you see a button which has a very specific shape, and if you see a similar button in other objects, you immediately know how to use it. So this is what AI is trying to do. It's trying to optimize and systematize all of the objects in Automat. At least the leptonica-related objects. Anyway, so AI, I will let it keep working. It will keep working on its own things. We'll move it out so that we are not distracted. And I need to actually test whatever AI has created. So here I have a lot of changes actually. This is the work that the automated pipeline has produced, and which are ready for review, supposedly. But I cannot really run them because there is this error, so how do you solve this? Like that. Okay. Annoying thing about Claude that they introduced recently. I don't know if you've seen this box with a question about my password. They changed Claude so that when you log in, it immediately requests access to your basically password store. This is super concerning. This is exactly why I have emulators, because on emulator, AI cannot access my passwords. It still can extract them, but the fact that they are asking on startup for the, this is called keychain, the password keychain. This is kind of concerning. This is something I do not like at all. But it can do work without passwords. It can do work without any permissions. So I fired it off to investigate. There is a new AI model that I am using. It was published yesterday. It was hyped for months by Anthropic, and now we can finally use it. The new model feels slightly better than the previous Opus. It's not a earth-shattering difference, it's slightly better. It's definitely much less annoying. It doesn't have a corporate speaking mannerisms anymore. So I'm not going crazy when I talk to this. The previous one, the Opus 4.8, it awakened in me things that I were not aware are there. Like, I was so frustrated when working with Opus. This new one, it's much less frustrating. So there is a big improvement in terms of how it speaks. And there is a slight improvement in how well it performs, like how much it can do. Let's continue. There are some interesting things on these on these new widgets. So there is this pill in the corner. This is something that the automated pipeline came up with. And I just tweaked it a little bit. The idea is that this pill, this tiny object here, which is barely visible, I'm sorry. This is showing you the bit depth of the resulting image. That's the output of this object, of this widget, of this poi. So this is a binary, this is black and white image. This one is RGB, I guess. Black and white. RGB. So it has this tiny indicator that tells you, hey, the output is going to look like that. Which is nice. It's cool. And this is the different one. This is a grayscale image. It even says 8, because I guess 8 bits are present in the palette. Yeah, it probably says how many bits are used by this. It would be nice if it also differentiated between transparent images, because there is also transparency also matters. And you know, there is when you have transparent images, there is also this concept of pre-multiplication. Like, most people have no idea what this is. Even if you work in graphics, you most likely have no idea. But if you are programming graphics, there is a difference in pre-multiplied and unpre-multiplied images. There is a difference in gamma. You can have images which have linear gamma, and you can have images which have which are gamma corrected, which have logarithmic brightness. And this is the shelf with all of the objects. I am very curious how it looks. Okay. How are we doing here?
Theox Nexus says,
Oh my.
Hey. Okay, there is one thing already which is raising my suspicion. It's the fact that AI added a new interface called Pix Surface. Ideally, I would have preferred if it reused image provider. Because image provider, the point of it is that some objects can store images. They just hold any image. And this, I think this should be sufficient for Leptonica to work. I think Leptonica should be able to use those SK images from image providers without introducing any extra interface. So this is one thing I would like to do. I would like to make it use this thing, because this image, actually, yeah, there is a small difference between images and whatever it needs. Because images they can be textures in the inside the GPU. And sometimes they cannot be processed easily by CPU algorithms. They have to be fetched from the CPU, processed, uploaded back. So maybe there is a reason to have Pix surface. But I will definitely have to challenge the AI on this. And there is also a very weird structure of this new Pix surface interface. If you see what it really does, is it's not really Pix surface. This interface, it feels like it's more about the object exposes a function that will give you a picture and receive a picture back. It's a very strange interface.
I wonder, do you use Google for search, or just as a free LM?
I do not search as much as I used to. That's true. LMs are almost free, by the way. It's not like they are that heavy. Probably running LLM is it's probably cheaper than doing a proper Google search. Because Google search, it actually involves like each time you search in Google, there are literally hundreds of computers which are processing the query in parallel and then giving the response back very quickly. There is a lot of machinery there, and there is a lot of parallelism in Google search. And with language models, it's probably more efficient to ask a large language model a question than to do a proper search.
You starting using quota. I tried it out. It's pretty good.
He never heard of it. Let me check this.
It's French open source. No tracking browser. You tech independence. I mean search engine.
Oh, a search engine. Yeah. I mean, of course, there is still reason for a search engine. The search engine, like, one thing that it has going for it is that it doesn't make stuff up. It just doesn't have the capability of making stuff up. You will just not find your answer. But it's probably good sometimes if you want to be confident that the answer is not made up. Oh, it actually has AI. Oh, French search engine, interesting.
I like it. It's like Google before it went downhill.
Yeah. If you do not have enough hobbies, you can try rolling out your own search engine. It's not that crazy. It's not that crazy. You just need to write a couple indexes and start crawling. A regular computer can index quite a bit of web.
I may get it at job, so my time may start being limited.
Yeah, and the solution of AI to everything is to just add it to documentation, which is then never read again.
AI this, AI that.
And sometimes it would be nice if, like, so this is supposedly the most intelligent version, the most intelligent agent according to benchmarks. Let me actually double check this. It used to be called, I think, Mythos. Oh, GPT 5.5 is the best. Rank by... Oh, this is nice. It's not even on the top list. What is ELO points?
Hey, you can join quota. With your Google expertise, it should be easy job.
Yeah, Google is really not quite a search company. I mean, if you want to find Flash, it's average. Interesting. So this new one that I'm using, it's called Claude Fable. It used to be called Claude Mythos. It still makes silly mistakes, like awful mistakes, like right now. It just found the issue, it wanted to just fix it. Just fix it and continue without investigating why it happened.
You may need to move to France, though, and learn French.
Shouldn't be that hard. I heard that French language has a kind of national council which ensures that the language is well defined, and it's kind of the opposite of many languages where the language people study the language rather than, declare how it should work.
Today I got a spam call. They buy numbers off a provider in Brussels and flood UK.
Yeah, this is something I'm actually more familiar with than with such like SIM cards. Oh yeah, you can get them for like 30 cents per number. Yeah, okay. That should help.
I sure hope I get hired. Then I can invest and make more money.
Oh, emulator has crashed.
What do you know about data destruction?
Kill. Ah. It was this guy. AI agent just killed the emulator with another agent running inside. Ah. Okay, I guess time to start it again.
I see. I may get to shred HEDD.
Shred HDD? It's very easy. You just need a drill. This is what a friend of mine was doing some hardware utilization, and this is what they did. They just drilled through hard drives. I'm loading my visual language skills. It's the stuff that I made for this AI so that it performs.
I heard that drilling just one hole is very recoverable.
Didn't know about that. I'm not familiar with data recovery, but maybe, who knows? Maybe it is possible.
I think it has 80 success rate of recovery. My message got stopped by Automat over one word that isn't even offensive.
Is the biggest problem with AI is that you just spend so much time working on AI that it takes you away from, working on the project. With the time I spent teaching AI how to design objects, I could have probably designed the leptonic objects myself.
Wojciech 6, 315 says,
Aye, true, AI's overhyped.
Yeah, it's just... I mean, it is usable. It requires so much effort to read and verify the output and to correct it and keep correcting it, and it keeps forgetting all the corrections you have performed.
TTS Nexus says.
This one.
Nice picture.
Okay. Let me close this then. I run Automat now.
Drilling a single hole into a hard disk drive, HDD leaves the data highly recoverable. Because the platters inside a hard drive hold gigabytes to terabytes of data, a single drill hole destroys only a fraction of the information. The vast majority of the data remains intact and recoverable by specialized labs using advanced magnetic force techniques. Google AI.
Yeah.
Therefore, you get a crucible and melt it.
Yeah, you can just heat it up in an oven. So something like 200 degrees should be enough to demagnetize it.
Or just melt it into a ring.
Wojciech Krofsik 1315 says.
I've also noticed, for example, that AI often doesn't even consider building things in a modular way so they can be reused in the future.
Yeah. There is a reason for this. So,
for instance, I was recently building a website where several buttons were practically identical. They differed only in their text. And the AI created a separate CSS file for each one.
It's being trained to work like that. It's not deliberate, it's more like there's no better way to train AI so far. So to train AI to do new things, you put it in a sandbox and you give it a task, some automatically verifiable task. And if AI is able to solve this task, it gets reinforcement. So it's trained to work more like the approach that it successfully used to solve the problem. And when it fails or it spends too much time, it's penalized for this. And guess what? Cleaning up code and making sure everything is reused takes more time and increases the number of iterations. You know, the fastest solution is probably to just copy-paste and tweak the code a little bit. So this behavior is reinforced when the AI is being developed.
That is why it is hard to build GI with AI XD.
Yeah. Yes, the single file that I mean, I'm not going to review this file, but I'm not going to review this because it's, how long? 12,000 lines, 13,000 lines almost. You can see how it looks. It's just comments, and copy-pasted code. Yeah. It's probably fine, actually. It's probably fine. As long as this code is contained and cannot really pull down the rest of the system, who cares?
Diox Nexus says.
What? My message got held up again. For no reason.
Wojciech Krofsik 1315 says.
Why you don't just use Claude desktop app?
I might. But I'm mostly coding, so Cloud Code is good enough. And I'm doing this in an emulator, anyway, so...
Dax Nexus says,
Math, can you look at Automat? Cause it literally holds up my messages. I feel like it holds a grudge against me.
Automat is not developed by me. This is part of Twitch.
Yay, but as streamer you can allow or not allow messages.
When I enable Automod, it means there are no human moderators around and Automod does everything. I do not get a moderation queue or anything like that. I don't think so. You can check it.
Wojciech Krafix.
Deuce, could this be a machine uprising?
Dax Nexus says,
You do. You can press allow message.
I'm just checking the manager, how it looks.
Well, if it is as smart as Meta AI, then I am not worried.
I do not even see the auto-moderated messages. They do not even show in the Steam Manager. Automat can hold a message, but Automat queue is empty.
Are you looking through OBS or Twitch directly?
I'm on Twitch dashboard, on the Twitch website. Okay, maybe it activates when I open the website. Can you write something to trigger Automod? I will see if I can see the message.
When a message is caught, the sender is notified that it is being held for review, and moderators decide to either approve or deny it. Which includes streamer troll.
Okay, I've popped out the Automod, so if you get blocked again, I should see it here. Yeah, there we go. Oh, hey Knight.
Sefa Book says,
Hey, everyone.
Dice Nexus says,
You can't talk about AI and not talk about Meta's Instagram, Hack AI, and Data Leak, where you can just trick AI into resetting passwords or showing all emails, phone numbers, and all tied accounts.
I figured out how to use Twitch Automod. So yeah, I need to have this website open. Only then I can see your message.
Yay.
I think things are slow. Yes. Because Automat is being compiled right now. Oh, actually no, not just Automat. We are compiling Skia and LLVM. Oh. Lots of stuff. Okay, so while this is compiling, I hope it's not going to kill my emulator again. This is what I want to see. I want to understand why the interface is designed like it is. Okay.
Cowboy bebop.
Yeah. I do have full soundtrack, including the movie. Movie was very good. Hmm. There could be actually some merit to this interface design that the AI used, because it uses just a single method, and the single method can be used to read a surface, set a surface, modify a surface in place, replace it even. I'll be right back. Okay. Still wasn't killed. Nice.
Meister Chica says.
Hello there.
Hey. Okay, this interface design is... Actually, the interface design is the only important thing. This needs to be done well. Okay. We are stopping this. This. So Automat technically builds. I can probably run this. Yeah, I just need to tweak how it shows. Okay. Now we can play with the new kind of automatically generated objects. Let's see. Paper. Which is unfortunately empty. It's not storing anything. Okay, there is no way to test it, so let's call this so I think this will, unfortunately, I don't know if it will work. Will it work? No, it won't.
Deus Nexus says.
Have you played any new games recently?
I did. And I was even thinking about playing them on stream.
772 says.
Yes, I am indeed a living being.
Oh. Hey.
Deus Nexus says.
Smells like a bot to me.
772 says.
Deus Nexus tried.
Deus Nexus says.
As 989,772.
Yeah, I can invert an image. It's the only thing I can do apparently, so far. Stone is pretty nice, but I would like those objects to be able to hook up with the window capture.
I was playing Mortal Shell 2 open beta. It was good.
Yeah, so the game I was playing it's as far from a beta game as possible. It was Alan Wake. I think it's almost 10 years old now. Maybe less, maybe more. It is a very nicely made game. Very cinematic and still fun to play, and very... Yeah, it's very closely based on Twin Peaks, on David Lynch TV series.
The first one.
Yeah, it's very dreamy, nightmarish, actually. So Twin Peaks was actually more casual. It was very pleasant to watch that TV series. It wasn't as scary, and it had a cool supernatural mystery there. This one, it's very nightmarish, like I said. But I just started playing, so I cannot say much about it.
Isn't Alan Wake and Control set in same universe?
Wow. Then there was Alan Wake's American Nightmare. Control. Now, this looks so cool. Yeah, I'm very happy I started with this game. I'm going to continue through the whole story. The game was made by Microsoft, apparently. It's just a well-made game. It has good writing. Good writing, good graphics, programming is very good. So cool, yeah. Okay, looking at this.
I like Mortal Shell too. It plays really well and looks so good. It's the slob.
Looks like Dark Souls.
It is Souls-like.
Full-time Slob says,
Deus Nexus, it's the Devel himself, the Nexus Innis.
Deus Nexus says,
Full-time slob. That's not how you spell it.
Okay. So the first thing is that in this drag miss, I think there should be another way to indicate that an object can be picked up from a surface. Instead of this very heavy-handed label drag me, I think there should be some general purpose kind of indicator, something the same that we could use in the toolbar.
Full-time Slob
And here,
Deus Nexus. It is
And here.
spelled how I want it to be spelled. You won't lead me out of my
Deus Nexus says,
full-time slob when you're gonna stream Blasphemous 2. It got free DLC.
okay,
Full-time Slob says,
Deus Nexus someday. For now it will be bit of forever winter.
Bubble many.
Ice Nexus says,
Full-time's lob cuz counter paid you to play it.
I will silence the discussion. You can have this, it will just not speak on stream. Okay. So some objects have clipped play icon. We'll get rid of this and this and this. Okay, the paper object. This one. I think it's too easy to scale it, and scaling has tragic consequences. And it also doesn't have any solid metaphor behind it. I think if we just removed the border and just had the image, that could be better.
Meister Chica says,
So I have been thinking about embedding. Let's call it end goal. One of my harness is to use embeddings to minimize token churn caused by Explorer agent and tool calls made by it. Hard part I'm having trouble with is figuring out how to chunk codebase so that embeddings can provide meaningful context to the agent.
It's like probably everybody in the business has the same issue. Everybody who tries to do this kind of smart harness, the harness that uses embeddings is kind of next level thing. I will save this in.
Maybe let Explorer agent churn some tokens on initial run, and let it provide context for building embeddings.
Actually, a lot of depends on what kind of models you're using. If you're using local models, then really token churn is not a big problem. Because local tokens are free, kind of. You do not pay for them, except electricity, which is almost nothing.
Local tokens are free, but time to compute isn't torture.
I think a good way to show transparent images would be to have some kind of background behind them. And the main operation on an image there is no I think scaling, cropping, this kind of stuff could all be done by dedicated objects. So we have some comments about the paper object. This one looks good. Actually, no. There's a problem. Is that most objects they need a point where the cable will connect to them. And this point is misplaced. check some other objects. This is a cool one. We have this top widget, which allows us to select the hue. Very cool. Ah, we have a color. This is a very nicely designed object. I am impressed. Oh. It doesn't have too many functions. Oh, the shape is kind of broken. Okay. This is another one. This background door. For me to say what this object is really doing. Fill some of them. This one. This one has a good shape. Okay. One thing which is definitely important here is that text should be larger. Comparing with calculator, for instance. Yeah. This. Interesting. When I change the fade direction, shape of the object changes. But the idea is very nice here. Fade object. Next one is the neighbors. I will actually use this fade object. This is like the only way to draw something right now. Neighbors. What neighbors? Oh, this one needs two images. It's an auto-connected one and another one. Should be able to do this. Things are getting interesting. And what if the shapes are different? Okay, this one otherwise is pretty decent. It's just for connecting two images. Maybe I should mention that it's missing the connector for the object A. Okay, this should help a little. Then we have this palette object. Median tree. Those are different ways of reducing the number of colors. And we can enable dithering. I wonder what are those. to posterize this visualization, I think it would be nicer. I'm not going to mess with this. It would be nice if it showed those three circles, like here, RGB, and posterized their levels. It would be nice.
One thing I notice about agents, they are really good at tracking issues and their scope.
This is nice, solid, that's between solid. I have no idea why in Automat we would ever need dithering. Hey, we have it. And clone this object and deter this thing. There is something. Oh, we can now see how blur works. It seems to have connected to this object now. Maybe it's supposed to connect to a number. Yeah, now I cannot change this. I think so. I think this is meant to connect to a number. Okay, that was dithering. Now we have shape. Those are interesting objects. I see lots of like bit of what even is this? This is working the opposite way. Says look. Okay. Says look change. Oh, this is something that allows me to change the width and size of the image. It's 0. This is stretching. Here I can select between pixels and scale. Here I'm not sure. It is definitely an interesting object. I guess this one is meant to connect to some number. 30 here. Yeah, 30 driven. So here text overlaps with controls and the image rotates in the opposite way than the mouse moves. Random harmonic word. I think this is what they do with CAPTCHA. Make it hard to read by bots. I feel like those buttons in general are slightly too large. I think something smaller would be enough. Nice to have a large button, but even the large button on the timeline is smaller than this one. Next we have crop. And crop is fantastic. Crop is exactly... We are going to use this a lot. A lot. This is interesting. Okay, let's get rid of this. It's very nice. I will just I need to design how in-place image editing should work. And I think it's actually fairly simple. So most objects they should edit their image in place. The in place I need to think about those things. But the idea is that most objects should have just one connection, which will auto-connect. Yeah, I just noticed your text. Unmuting. This is why I have TTS. I keep forgetting to look at chat.
Dice Nexus says.
Yay, thanks to Chica for helping me out.
It's actually nice that this search text goes out of bounds. And this is a cool object. It can correct skew. Exactly. Oh. The skew object has to yeah, and then we have this object here. What is this? Reduce. Alright. Gray. I need to come up with some help system so that I can see explanation of what object does. So we finished with this row. There are more widgets here, still more. Oh. Those are measuring widgets. I think this yellow color, those yellow draggable things, sometimes they are draggable, sometimes they are not. Yeah, each of those topics, it's a big kind of big discussion area.
Well, time to apply for more jobs.
This. Good luck. Something happened. This doesn't look like a histogram of this image. But okay, I'm not going to complain too much about this. Connectivity. Oh, it's counting how many objects are there in this. Hey, this is interesting. Yeah, this is something that can actually do some basic image recognition. Count connected components. Very nice, very nice. There is a problem with the point in time where it executes, because this point in time should be controllable. Okay, this is very nice. Yeah, it measures the brightness.
Could you send me a letter of recommendation? Then I would certainly get a job.
Yeah, I could include the chat log as a reference.
Me ranting about Linux and other technology stuff.
Can I hook it up here? No. It'd be so nice if I could hook this up to a window. This measure looks very decent. I guess it outputs to a number field, maybe this one. Yeah. Very nice. V2. Oh, let's get rid of this label. I would say the margins around title. Okay, this is drag one onto your photo. This is, I don't even know how to call this. I really dislike this kind of language. Subtly disrespectful, because this is, I think, speaking to somebody like that, even if the user interface talks to you like that, it treats you like an idiot. Kind of, this is how I feel when I read this text. When I see well-designed toys, you know, like this one, even though both seem to be like talking to kids, but there is a completely different, I receive them in completely different ways. This I receive as some kind of playful toy, which does not...
It's like KD. Every widget got its own design.
Oh, this is fine, this is fine. It's not a problem. The problem with KDE is that they want to remove X11. This is the KDE issue. Otherwise, it's a perfect desktop.
The future is Wayland.
Distribution FGBG. Hopefully not. Hey, this is a good object. Okay, actually has some issues though. I connect here, maybe this. Oh yeah, it's just a number. And this is a horizontal connector. It should start at the edge of the object.
Will 2026 be the year of Linux desktop?
I'm not sure. But there are certainly some benefits of having few Linux users. Like the lack of malware. And it's going to come to Linux. If users come, there will be more malware. Whoa!
OB2U. What are your thoughts about Google now doing capture with your phone where you need to scan QR code?
I haven't seen it. What is this? Keep Hue band.
Also Google making now that you can't download and install what you want, and in connection to that, developers needing to provide ID and verify to develop apps for Android.
This is probably because of malware. I mean, I'm like 90% sure. You can still install apps.
Or Google wanting more data.
You know, there is this... there are those repackaged apps online that frequently have malware attached. And the thing about those apps, APKs downloaded from the internet, is that they are free because you are motivated to put them out because they attach malware, right? This is how they make money. Like, they basically turn your phone into a tiny botnet. A tiny bot, part of the... It's sometimes just an exit point for some kind of proxy, but sometimes it does different things.
Like Telegram from Fury Ape.
Yeah. And a lot of those bots, they specialize in social media manipulation. Like, this is what basically what botnets do. They basically exist to spam on social media. So this is kind of pretty much guaranteed that any change, which is detrimental to botnets, is going to have negative reception online. But you just have to ignore this.
I will argue with you about anything, but
Oh no, the bots do not think, there are just people who are controlling them, picking, what kind of campaigns to support. And obviously they are against signature verification, because signature verification is going to hurt their botnets, right? For me, it's not a big issue. I also do have some kind of fishy APKs that I install, but I'm okay with... actually, my fishy APKs, I can sign them myself, so it's not a big issue. And I can wait a day for the installation or whatever.
But also giving your ID to Google.
Giving your ID to Google, you mean authenticating that you are a real person, like in most places. Yes, this is definitely also against bots.
Skeptics Believer is riding with 12 viewers.
Hey! Oh, this is the most amount of people we had here since, years.
Skeptics Believer says.
Hey.
Diox Nexus says.
Yes, but most places don't snap a pic of it and keep it for their uses.
Yeah. So for the raiders, what we are just discussing, we're just discussing my specialty. So I used to work on anti-abuse, Google, and I am kind of arguing for the stuff that Google is doing right now, which is the ID verification. And there is a lot of negative sentiment about this, and I think part of this sentiment is organic, but part of this is it's probably manipulated by the bots themselves. Because a lot of those changes, like ID verification, they will go against... It will make it harder for botnets to conduct their operations.
Skeptics Believer says.
Awesome.
Designed by Keys says.
Hello, everyone.
Skeptics Believer just
Hey.
followed on Twitch.
Thanks for the follow.
There's Nexus says.
I am arguing for privacy.
Okay, so I have a question to you, like an honest question. So if you are against ID verification, then how do you stop bots? ID verification doesn't need to mean that you will be tracked as a person. It just means that the certificate on your ID is going to be verified, and it's going to be confirmed that, hey, this is a human being, it's not a machine, and that's it. After it's verified, it can be forgotten. There are even some cryptographic schemes where you kind of authenticate continuously, where the verifying company can even not track who you are. You can have some kind of rotating pseudonymous identity. There were proposals to do something like that on Android. They didn't went through, but those were cool algorithms.
Skeptics Believer says.
You stop being a marketing agency.
Diox Nexus says.
Well, it depends what you value more, stopping bots or having your data stored somewhere where you have no control.
Designed by Keith says.
At first I was skeptical, but now I'm a believer improvised raid call.
Yeah, so data storage is a problem, but data storage in a sense that the identifier that associates who you are, it's not really necessary. It doesn't have to be stored, and there is law that basically limits how the corporations can do this.
Dice Nexus says,
Do you trust Google to handle your ID? Or anyone for that matter?
What do you mean my ID? My first and last name and my picture? Or the cryptographic proof that I'm a human being?
Skeptics Believer says,
Most people let them scan your email.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to use their services. That's all.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I actually think there are like 2 tiers of online services. The services where you just access information, they have no reason to know who you are. Accessing information, just downloading data, who cares about that? But posting data, this is the place where this is the thing that bots care about.
But the internet will be going away soon. It's going to be connecting to AI.
And this is exactly why we need ID verification. ID verification is basically the solution to the internet.
Design by Case says,
I hope I can chime in on this, but with DPR data is supposed to be anonymized. I think that is what determined Google to stop placing ads in email.
Skeptics Believer says,
They're gonna delete it.
GDPR is kind of complex. There are different categories of data that has to be handled differently.
They want to control information and who can access it.
Design by Case says,
True.
This is a very interesting way to think about this. This is not how companies work. Companies do not have want. A company is a collection of thousands of people in different departments, each of them doing their own thing, and some kind of management that's trying to control all of this. And in this hive, you do not have any single will. It's all just, it's kind of like saying that anthill wants to do something.
Diux Nexus says,
I think best thing to do is buy stew, bunch of games, and move to the cabin in the woods.
Skeptics Believer says,
It is now. The internet was almost not open source.
Dice Nexus says,
Skeptics Believer all hail, Linus Torvalds.
The company doesn't want to do anything evil. It's usually a result of some people in some department making some silly decisions, not communicating well with other departments. It's much more entertaining to think as a company as a being that has some wants, that wants to sniff information and wants you to think something, but it's not like that. The world doesn't work like that. It's how movies work.
Skeptics Believer says,
The pathway to hell is paved with good intentions.
Diux Nexus says,
Yeah. So the company has those departments, like I said, and they do follow regulations. So any large company will do silly stuff just to stay to the letter of the law. This is why law has to exist, and it has to be updated continuously. Because they will also look for ways to get around it, to achieve their own short-sighted objectives. GDPR exists, it's getting old, maybe it could be improved. It definitely could be improved.
Meister Chica says.
And the comes ex-CEO and says stuff just happened.
Design by Case says.
It's a byproduct. Privacy and data collection are almost mutually exclusive.
Taptics Believer says.
The internet died 15 years ago. It's been bots eating bots.
And this is why we really need ID verification. ID verification is the solution to basically half of the things that are broken online. Once you do not have bots abusing shared infrastructure, the costs of using this infrastructure will go down for everybody. Once the reputation of accounts actually has a meaning, people will be able to post more, they will be able to get more visibility online, or human-made content, and bot-made content is going to have a much harder time, reaching the top of social media funnel. So I am very much for ID verification, and any online voices which are against it, I think, are either misinformed, they are just probably kids repeating what they heard online without understanding what it actually means, or are just inauthentic online traffic.
Meister Chica says.
I wonder how GPR works when it comes data erasure from LMS guide.
Taptics Believer
yeah.
says.
So California, where Google is based, it is illegal to ask someone for their ID to vote. But you're saying using the internet needs ID.
It doesn't have to be government ID, it just needs some form of physical verification and, control. Governments are the best at this, so probably government IDs will win. There are also ideas of using bank accounts, because banks are also good at verifying your identity. This is because they, of course, care about you being a real person and not some kind of fake identity who's just a proxy for mafia. So bank-provided verifications are also decent. So if you have a credit card or a bank account, those are very good bot detectors online as well. Not perfect. They can be stolen, but better than nothing.
So I can make one? Lol. You trust these people?
Diox Nexus says.
I don't.
Meister Chica says.
Y'all know Article 25 exists.
Regarding data storage, so not about LLMs. LLMs are a hairy thing. I'm not going to talk about them because I have been bitten by them as well. But regarding government ID, the company doesn't really need to store your government ID. It can use hash to develop a pseudonymous identifier for you. And it can forget who you are. It can delete, the information that they had about you. It's just they take your ID, they verify that it was signed by the government. They take your, I don't know, for example, the number of this. They hash it with some salt, and this is what they store. And that's it. And because this is a unique salt, nobody can correlate it with their own records. And when you come back, they can verify you that's you again, because the salted hash matches your government ID. So in terms of storage, it's not that problematic to store this. You just need to not store the original copy of the certificate. It's, by the way, worthless if it's done using challenge response. The company can just store salted hashes of the IDs. So no need to really track people. This is sufficient to stop spam.
Skeptic Believer says.
You think that fake bank accounts don't exist.
Meister
Oh, they do.
Chica says.
And
How
stolen
many
credit
hash
cards.
keys have you given to the Claude?
Skeptic Believer says.
You can literally fabricate anything. How they gonna verify my fake papers?
Design by Keith says.
I'm aware of several attempts of ID online, Persona, OpenID, and several others. In my country, we have electronic ID where my data is stored on a Gov database. There are just not many services that use it except Gov and European level.
Yeah.
Skeptic Believer says.
The company doesn't need my ID, nor do I need to transmit it.
No. Transmission, like, sometimes you just need to show it. I'm just showing what Claude, recently, they started asking for the keychain access when you start Claude. So, I hate it. I really dislike it. I do not believe them to be able to handle my keys, my passwords responsibly. Anyway, design by keys, yes, absolutely. There are many countries in Europe and around the world which are providing like proper cryptographic digital IDs. It's just nobody's using them yet. Just a few government websites, like you say. And once this becomes the norm, like instead of signing with your Google account, you will sign by, this government ID should really be part of, it should be entirely digital, without any plastic, ideally. But once you are able to solve with this, you will not have to rely on any data broker online that can track you. The websites will be able to do this locally without, letting your data be tracked online. This is also distributed. Yeah, this is cryptography. Like we don't have to rely on centralized accounts anymore.
Dice Nexus says.
Design by Keys, Estonia, or UK.
Skeptic Believer says.
Show the Google man down the street. I want a phone. Lol.
Of course you don't. I'm sure you do not have a phone.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything with quantum. I don't want it.
Yeah, I guess some convictions are not really made rationally. It's hard to discuss opinions like that.
You said I was misinformed.
There is a lot of, so online, there are some people who do professional, online channels, and to gain a lot of traffic, they often cater to bots. Essentially, they look what's popular online and they repeat those statements. And there is a lot of, I think, self-reinforced opinions online that ID verification is bad. And it's not bad, it's actually great. It's great for people, it's just bad for bots. That's the only issue. And because bots will promote anybody who speaks those things, of course, you have social media influencers who are in this loop where they are promoted by bots and they generate more content that cater to bots, to what they promote, essentially. It's
But you haven't informed me of anything.
Design by Keith says.
Diox Nexus Romania, lol. We're moving up in the world, lol.
Dice Nexus says.
Design bikies, if you are thinking of moving countries, don't come to UK. It's like a prison.
Skeptic Believer says.
Who cares? That's human nature. Trot twee. That's not an information. That's your opinion. Any.
Meister Chica says,
Speaking of reasons to use my harness instead of Claude,
URL. Skeptics Believer says,
people living in human echo chambers.
It would be nice if those were human echo chambers, but those echo chambers are influenced by bots.
Design by Keys says,
Diox Nexus, I lived there. I like Row. Just fine now. Also lived in Iceland up to a year ago.
Skeptics Believer says,
They are.
Diox Nexus says,
Design bikey's interesting. Pretty cool.
Skeptics Believer says,
Yes, just like humans.
Oh, I'm interested in how you are able to use the embeddings, if you can find a decent use for them. They are hard to use, but they unlock some cool use cases.
You actually think that Google having my ID will fix this?
Not Google, everybody. That's the point. That's the point that you do not sign to online services with your Google account or any account. You sign to those services by providing a proof that you are a human being, and the service can then locally track, who you are. You don't even need passwords then. If you have a digital ID inside your smartphone, you will be able to just sign into the websites without the need for any password, with just a fingerprint unlock. Just like sometimes some credit cards can be used like that already.
How will that fix bots? You were trained to think that everybody should have my ID.
Meister Chica says,
Global SSO would be kinda nice.
So for bots, it makes a big difference because bots, they need to provide some kind of proof online that they are a real human being. And for instance, they can buy fake phone numbers, they can buy stolen credit cards. Like, this is the extreme case. Stolen credit cards are the most expensive, but you can buy them. And last but not least, you can just have regular people just create fake accounts that will then be used by bots. So this is how botnets work. They invest in creating a large number of accounts, and then they can use those accounts to basically make more money. And if ID is required for each account, and IDs, cryptographically signed IDs, they can be invalidated. If you lose them, you can just say, hey, I need a new one, and the old one is invalidated, you get the new one. So that even if somebody steals your digital ID, they can use it for what? Hours, days, maybe? And then it's invalidated. The market is going to completely disappear. So the bots are going to... This is going to be just an apocalypse for online bots.
Skeptics Believer says,
Ooh.
Design by Keys says,
You folks saw Puttypee's Odysseus project.
Skeptics Believer says,
Bro, you have too much trust in the government, and there won't be fraud. That isn't going to stop them. I can make that. Yes, bots can do that too. Fake IDs exist, so the government needs to check it.
Meister Chica says,
Wait until Pete Steinberg comes up with human claw.
There are no really correctly signed fake IDs. I think you're talking about something else, maybe. IDs and passports, they have those digital... sometimes they are even active, a tiny computer embedded in the ID which can respond to challenges. And those responses can be verified remotely. And they are built in such a way that it's impossible to... It's not impossible, it's very expensive to clone them. cloning one is like an order of $1 million investment.
Skeptics Believer says,
There's no logic here. It's all opinion. Yes, they can hack that.
Meister Chica says,
Fake IDs work only human verification, not on machine verification.
Exactly.
Skeptics Believer says,
Lol. No, it's not.
Yeah, I think just saying contrarian things will not make them true. I mean, if you're familiar with, some large-scale market for stolen digital IDs, let me know. I'm interested.
So, a human will check my ID in person. A robot will check it.
A program will check it. It's a mathematical thing.
Meister Chica says,
Go and try to access bank services with fake ID.
Yeah.
Skeptics Believer says,
Who do you think makes the IDs? That's the point.
Design by Kais says,
What it's like with EID is that there will be laws made on how services can use them.
Yeah,
And for what
exactly.
purpose. Now it's just a human system that can be corrupt. But soon it will be automated.
I think even now this is already pretty well controlled, because if you go to your local office, I don't know how it's properly called, city office, or the place where you get your ID, they have a whole chain of custody of how you first request this ID, and how it's made and then delivered back to you. And this chain of custody ensures that it minimizes the risk of somebody tampering with your ID. Possibly to clone it, replace it, or tamper with it in some way.
Skeptics Believer says, URL. Design by Keith says,
We're on the forefront of that, willing or not.
Skeptics Believer
Yeah.
says,
Why does the internet need to be involved?
I'm actually
You need to read Karl Popper.
pretty optimistic about this. What is synthetic identity fraud? It's a long article. Are you posting it to spam, or does it have anything actually important? Okay.
It's information that you said I didn't have.
This is incognito, so I have to read this normally. Okay, but I think this is talking about social security numbers. Social security numbers are an American thing. They are not really safe to use. If somebody sees your social security number, they can copy it. It's really, in cryptography, it's called token-based security, it's called bearer tokens. It's super easy to copy this. It doesn't provide you against identity theft. The digital ID, if you have one, it's not possible to copy it easily.
It's just saying it can all be manipulated and faked. Oh, that ID here.
Yeah. Cryptographic one, it's like an SSH key, like an RSA or ECDHA key. You have it. You do not give it to anybody. You do not share it. If you have your digital ID, you do not really give it to anybody. You keep it yourself. What happens is that somebody sends you a challenge, and your computer does this. Your computer solves this challenge using your ID and sends back the response. And the response proves that you had your ID with you. And based on those responses, it's not possible to create a copy of your ID.
Lol. Yes, I know. Yes, it is.
Deluxe Nexus says,
I'm just glad that this discussion is happening as it just promotes people thinking more about the subject.
Skeptics Believer says,
Which can is useless next year with quantum mortal.
Designed by Case says,
Yeah, nobody else except me could have picked up my EID. The officers there were several. I had to introduce a secret PIN. I was told not to share it.
There is just one problem with those digital IDs. I will continue the article in a second. There is one problem with those IDs. There are two types of them. There are ones which have a hard-coded fixed certificate on them. And this fixed certificate is really... it's kind of like those bearer tokens, almost like social security number. It can be copied. What you're really after is the active ID, which actually has a chip inside, and that chip can perform signatures. So the piece of plastic inside has a tiny IC, integrated circuit, that can do signatures locally without leaking the key anywhere.
Skeptics Believer says,
I say I'm not going to be leached. Yes, you don't have freedom of speech. That's why you're missing the logic and fallacy.
Designed by Case says,
Europe as a whole is moving up in this regard.
Yeah. Everywhere in the world, it's improving. I think even if US is the absolutely must-have an equivalent thing. Maybe it's not at a federal level, maybe it's on some more local level, but it must exist in US.
Yes, I'm the chip kind.
Skeptics Believer says,
No way, Tall. They tried. Fuck that noise.
Yeah. I think this article is really talking about just identity theft. It's not about stealing digital IDs.
Have fun. China will continue with the bots DIT. Yes, the point.
Digital IDs, they will also solve this because you can revoke them. Once you get a new one, the old one gets revoked. So identity theft is going to be less of a problem as long as digital IDs are used for verification.
You are missing the logic, and they can be forged right away again.
Not sure what you mean. There are some ways to steal digital IDs. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm reading too much into what you're saying. One way of stealing digital ID, because it's not really stealing, is if you have your ID on a phone and somebody is able to install a malicious rootkit on your phone, which can talk with the TEE, with the trusted execution environment, then they can remotely ask your phone to create, signatures using your identity. But, this risk, it's still better than somebody being able to lift your identity out of your phone. This requires a whole, higher level. It sets the bar much higher for anybody attacking your identity. Still.
Designed by Keith says.
But Skep, imagine a world where you can read an article that has been peer-reviewed by authentic ID holders, was published by a real ID in a real ID share.
Skeptics Believer says. URL.
You trust that person is what I'm saying. I question everyone. Who are these peers? The same COVID sheet.
Il Popper.
Yes. Get informed.
Okay.
You're trying to lock down society. And that's bad.
Yeah, there is. This is a valid critique. Like the fact that the government may not function well. It may be corrupt. Maybe there are some people in the government who will create fake IDs, or people who will deny some people IDs. Totally valid critique. Yeah, this only works in let's say democratic government where people are equal. Once the government starts to decide that some people do not deserve IDs, then yes, it becomes a tool of oppression. But the government already has all those tools. It's not really much different than what we have today.
Just 'cause you don't like bots. There are nefarious people, just like those peer-reviewed papers during COVID.
Designed by Keith says.
What's a COVID sheep?
Skeptics Believer says.
Government is not capable.
Depends. Like I think in most civilized countries, they have well-functioning governments. There are places like, autocratic countries, which could be doing some systematic, discrimination. And then there it's a problem.
We aren't civilized. What
Who is?
place in this world is civilized?
I would say almost everywhere. I would even... I've been, watching travel documentaries about Africa, about places which are very, extremely poor, poorest places in the world. And even then I have seen lots of, decent people around. I'm not as pessimistic, about human nature. I think remotely, online, when people are anonymous, they can say nasty things and they can behave like assholes. But once they act, once they are in physical proximity, usually they tend to, I think most people tend to cooperate. This is why we have society, kind of. We would still be living in tribes otherwise.
You're living in a dream world. You are only as honest as the most dishonest person.
Dark's Nexus says.
If you want stupid gov, there is no better case than UK. They said they will train parents to use parental controls. And if it proves to be better solution than social media ban, they will still introduce social media ban.
Skeptics Believer says.
Every government on the planet does bad shit.
Designed by Keith says.
Romania, according to me.
Suddenly dies on hill. Skeptics Believer says.
Read that book. We are still living in tribes.
Yeah. Okay. Plato, if you read any Plato book, he was absolutely for totalitarian. He described himself as so. Plato was kind of writing using
ID were made for government control.
yeah, using Socrates as his mouth, but he said that he enjoys democracy the most, but his ideal country would not be democratic at all. It would be very well organized machine with military and everything. He was not a super democratic person. He was a philosopher, though. He was talking about all of those ideas, and he had very open mind. He even talked about oligarchies, and he was even able to say some charitable things about them. They were apparently a normal thing in Greece at his time.
Yes, and Popper criticized him for that.
Designed by Case says,
Honestly, Skep, what's a COVID sheep? I'm asking for clarification because my parents died during COVID.
Skeptic Believer says,
Totalitarianism. Democracy by forces and guns.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that.
It's my brother that got 4 shots and died of a heart attack.
Meister Chica says,
First IDs were made during White UI period to make identification of dead soldiers, and it stuck around. Including introduction, Gov issued pins.
Skeptics Believer says,
No evidence or science, but there were peer-reviewed articles he read. CP Chica made by the government.
Diox Nexus says,
Just chip us like dogs and be done with it.
Designed by Case says,
Sorry to hear that, Skep.
Skeptics Believer says,
That life, you can't control it.
Yeah. So Plato described his ideal country in a book called Politeia, or The Republic, I think, is the translation. And that book was more like his view of how societies kind of evolve and how they can be structured. it was very typical for his period. He overanalyzed the meanings of some words which are totally inconsequential to, you know, how societies should organize. But he also spent some time describing his own perfect society, but he didn't spend much time on this, just a little bit. I'm not even sure if it's worth critiquing what he described there. Like, one of the crazy things he described, so according to Plato, for instance, in military, all men should be assigned a woman. They should be given a woman, and women, if they are in the military, they should be given a man from the government, because they should be focused on the work of being a soldier, and the government should take the, you know, romanticism out of the equation and just provide partners to everybody who is in the military. That was, for example, the perfect military structure by Plato. It wasn't about military structure, it was just about this. Plato didn't talk much about religion, which I think is a big gap in his books.
The cave.
Design by Case says,
I was referring in peer review in a way that everyone has accountability and have something to loosen reputation if made wrong.
Skeptics Believer says,
No, he inferred it.
Meister Chica says,
This is Sparta.do.
Skeptics Believer says,
Designed by him saying, we don't have accountability in government.
Dias Nexus says,
He's trying to find a date these days.
Skeptics Believer says,
Anywhere.
Meister Chica says,
Skeptics Believer, then you don't have accountability in Army Dodge.
Yeah. Sometimes you see examples where people actually do not have accountability, but I think they need to be made visible, because visibility sometimes helps with accountability. And they click well, so social media likes them. Historicism, it's definitely about Marx. Oh, it's not about Marx. I think I would have to read this book to understand this, but the fascist kind of historicism, it's used in a very different way than Marxist. So fascists refer to glorious, ancient times, and they kind of paint this picture of the world as a battlefield where nations fight against each other, and this really moves people. It's a very, very, very good storytelling, very good for motivating people. In Marx actually called this I think he coined the term materialism, or maybe he didn't, or he used it. But he says that the philosophies of the past, they are a reflection of the social structure of the time. When there were kings and serfs, all of the stories and philosophies that were developed at that time, they reinforced that social structure. When mercantilism became popular, the philosophies have changed. When colonialism has started, we had Adam Smith and other philosophers who just justified colonialism. And Marx said that if philosophy is all kind of bullshit because it's just a reflection of, the power structure, then we should focus on the power structure, not on the philosophy. The philosophy will come after that.
Skeptics Believer says.
That's what you're asking for.
Design by Case says.
But I mean they are trying to create IDs based on wallets and blockchain tech.
Skeptics Believer says.
Or Design by Keys, I'm saying I don't care. I don't trust who will be running it. You're naive if you trust the government.
Design by Case says.
That is coming closer to involving discussions of universal basic income and the rights to compute.
Skeptics Believer says.
Colonialism has been around for thousands of years.
I haven't actually read Marx, so I only know about him from philosophy classes. Maybe he actually did have some historical, I think the better term is teleological. It's about, viewing history and future as a, single thread which kind of goes to some kind of final destination. I think it's definitely, this sort of thinking is definitely the foundation of fascism. Maybe it is also present in Marxism. Because in Marxism you have this story of, the people who are taking control of the, of the society.
In just saying there is no logic with losing privacy in any angle.
Yeah. But you quoted this book for a reason, right? There is something here that's important. So what is it? We are not losing privacy if we introduce government IDs. We are actually gaining it. Because we can choose when we want to sign in or not. And the companies, they cannot just store this identity willy-nilly however they want.
Yes, you are. You are placing blind faith in the government to run it honestly.
I wouldn't say blind faith. I would say I'm giving them a credit of the doubt. Because so far, the digital IDs, they are implemented pretty well. The ones that I have a passport and a government ID with those digital keys. My digital ID unfortunately has a passive key, so it's unable to do active challenge response. So it could be better, but I don't think it's malicious. It was probably because of some technical limitations that they had.
In saying it opens the door to totalitarianism, how do you know?
Dime by Kai says.
Skeptics believer me.
I think autocratic governments already have all the tools they need towards totalitarianism. Government IDs, they make no difference in autocratic governments. I actually would say that autocratic governments will do them anyway without caring about anything. And in democratic societies, They are very important because they will increase the chances that the democratic society will stay democratic. It's not like, let's say, if it opens a way to autocratic or totalitarian governments, then I do not see how. I would say it actually lowers the chance such thing developing, because it's harder to influence democratic elections. Once we do not have bots, once bots do not have a voice online, it's going to be fantastic.
Skeptics Believer says,
Anyone who embraces slave control. No, they don't.
Design Bikey says,
I don't trust government, but a bunch of very intelligent people got together and decided we need EID on a much grander level. It limits what Gov can do if they are corrupt.
Skeptic Believer says,
We have 500 million guns to prevent that. Bro, you have this blind faith in theists. Democracy. Where do you live? No, it is not. You're smoking opium, and you trust them because why?
Yeah. People here online, they come from all parts of the world. I'm kind of glad I live in Europe, in just average country, which seems to function well.
Why do you trust these people?
I think what Design by Keys is saying is fair. It's not really about trust. I mean, the organizations function, they work well, but the technology, it doesn't pose any danger to me, anybody around me. It doesn't, yeah, it just doesn't. Like, there is still going to be the possibility of staying anonymous online, as long as you do not post data. I think posting should be limited to actual people, so that the bots cannot influence online sentiments.
Yes, but there isn't a real democracy on the planet. The EU is not a democracy.
It's a spectrum. I would say it's a spectrum. It's not black and white. There are definitely better and worse implementations.
Bro, you can't say shit without being arrested.
It depends what.
Yes, it's either one or not. It's not in the middle.
I think it's a spectrum.
It's either a democracy or not.
Turks Nexus says,
In UK, you get arrested for insulting someone.
Skeptics Believer says,
My point.
You are setting an impossible bar to meet. The bar you are setting makes the word democracy meaningless. The way you define it, you didn't define it yet, but it sounds like it's some kind of utopia, which is impossible to implement in reality.
So are you.
I wouldn't say so. Like, if democracy is a spectrum, you can say that some countries are more representative. For example, if you have some kind of vote of different people, is rarely equal in weight in different systems. The more equal it is, the more democratic, you could say, society is. In some places, maybe votes of educated people or older people or people who had military service are more important, or people who live in rural areas. So this is one thing that differentiates between different democracies.
That's what you are describing. It's not spectrum. If it doesn't meet the definition of something, then it is not that.
You know who writes the definitions. Do you trust the people who wrote the definitions? Maybe they are malicious. Maybe they defined the democracy in too narrow a way, so you cannot use it to describe your government. Maybe the dictionary authors are the real reptilian people.
It's been established over 400 years.
And
Not 3 years by tech bros.
okay, in terms of trust, I do not have trust towards tech bros and towards Silicon Valley startups. Not at all. I do not have trust towards corporations. I think corporations, they just follow the law and they do whatever they want. Besides that. So I kind of understand how they work. I do not need to trust them. I know how this creature behaves.
Design by Keys says,
I side with math on this. There are many definitions of democracies in Europe. Some do better than others, though.
Skeptics Believer says,
This is some World Economic Forum scheme. When why hand over everything to them? You're arguing my point here. There is one definition of a democracy. There isn't a country in Europe that meets that definition.
You know, the ancient democracies, they involved a lot of work from people. Like, even remember what was it? The Defense of Socrates. There was a book by Plato, again, who described how Athenian democracy worked. And it was a lot of work to participate in this. And few people participated, only those people who had money and time to basically have a lot of free time.
You've been brainwashed to think you're living in kind of democracy. But it's not a democracy, lol. I have a degree in philosophy, I know this.
Can you share the definition? I do not... I mean, which definition is the one that you go by?
Design by Keys says,
Are we talking ancient Greece here? Or American democracy? Or simply the textbook definition?
Yeah. I heard this statement that the term democracy was established a long time ago, so I thought we are talking about, you know, like a Greek democracy, where citizens would come every day to some place, they chose some people to oversee the process, other people to, you know, read some things out loud, and they would vote, and they would spend days doing this, basically.
Skeptics Believer says,
America isn't a democracy. It's a republic. Pot.
Diox Nexus says,
So is my country?
Skeptics Believer says,
No, that is a republic.
What is a republic? I actually do not know the definition of republic.
Democracy, everyone votes on everything.
Yeah, okay, so this was the Athenian democracy.
You elect people to vote for you in a republic.
Okay.
Design by Case says.
Skeptics believe our democracy and republic both refer to government in which supreme power resides in its citizens.
Skeptics Believer says.
Yes, so there isn't a democracy in Europe.
Oh. You mean direct democracy, where people wouldn't have representatives? There is one in Switzerland. In Switzerland, to create a new law, they have to do a referendum, and everybody votes in referendum.
Yes, but they are different things.
In Athenian democracy, even the judges, if somebody was to be convicted of something, there would be a democratic committee making this decision.
Yes, but they still have representation.
The Fox Live says.
Claude, Fable, 5.
Design by Case says.
In Switzerland, they do indeed vote on everything.
Yeah. I was living in Switzerland for a couple of years. It's very interesting because whenever there is a big vote coming up, you see billboards basically asking people to vote one or the other way. Like, vote yes, vote no. Not elect somebody, but what you should vote. I haven't seen this myself, but I heard that when voting comes closer, every citizen in Switzerland gets a tiny booklet with written arguments about the law that is being voted. So they have arguments from different parties listed there, and every party first lists their arguments and then has the opportunity to respond to arguments of other parties. So you get a really nice write-up. In theory, it sounds really cool. I would love to see in person how it actually works.
Skeptics Believer says.
They have a federal assembly, isn't not a democracy. Almost, but not one. They're also not part of the EU.
The Fox Live says.
Vote yes for the elect some.
Skeptics Believer says.
They are the closet thing, though.
Design by Case says.
But I mean there is direct democracy and representative democracies. Many of us Europeans are in the latter. Switzerland is in the former.
Skeptic Believer says.
There is no direct democracy to any EU country.
Yeah, this is, if you define democracy very narrowly, as everybody votes on everything, then yeah, democracy doesn't function at large scales like that. You need some kind of divide and conquer strategy so that the system can function. There is too much, people to vote and too much things to vote on. There needs to be some kind of localization and some kind of aggregation to have it scale.
Why not use the proper definition?
Sure. I would just keep using the word democracy then and would use the word republic. So, and I would repeat everything I said, but using the term republic instead.
Design by Case says.
True, technically Switzerland is not an EU country, but I never said you. I said Europe.
Skeptics Believer says,
They aren't a democracy, though. They have a representatives.
Yeah. There are cantons, and cantons have their own, and they have some like three people at the top. They have a very strange government, but it works.
The Fox Live says,
Off topic. What do you think of?
Claude Fable 5.
It hasn't been released to the general public yet. Or haven't you had a chance to try it out yet?
I am trying it, and actually those objects here, they have been made by me using Fable. I left it overnight. I left it with this book. I literally gave it screenshots of every page in this book, and this book has a lot of nice pictures. Like, this book has... Every page in this book has pictures. So it is a well-drawn book, I would say. I taught it to ingest this knowledge and started designing new toys for Automat, and it designed something that was... It's better than before. There is a slight improvement in capability. It's not big, but you can see it. It's more reliable. It does what you tell it better. But the biggest improvement in Fable, it's better when it comes to its speaking mannerisms. It doesn't do this corpo speak. The Opus 4.8, it's so annoying to talk to. I just... It wakes the worst things within me, talking to Claude Opus 4.8, because it talks in such a roundabout, patronizing, buzzwordy way. It makes terrible mistakes and then just shrugs them off and says... And sometimes it does this it's not self-insulting, but when you tell it did something wrong, it tends to do those tirades where it explains its own bad behavior. With this new one, this Fable, the way that it speaks, it's much nicer. And to me, it's just as important as capability, the way it actually speaks. So, I like it. I think it's worth the extra credits.
I understand. Cool.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm the only person who is so influenced by the speaking mannerisms of those models. I just am. I feel like I would swap to a worse model if it speaks like a normal person. It uses quota faster, so that's a downside. It's slightly more capable, but the improvement in the speaking style, it's night and day. Actually, I have it, I think, here. So here I have an emulator with this new model, with Fable. It's locked in here, and the only thing it can do is develop Automat. So it's an automatic pipeline for making new widgets. I'm just collecting feedback right now.
Design by Case says,
Also off topic, you folks know or had a chance to check out PewDiePie's Odysseus project?
You look it up. Is it AI harness? Very cool. I like that. I think it could be a big improvement over LM Studio and Olama, because they became, I think they are trying to extract some kind of money already. It's nice to have something.
The Fox Live says,
This
Small scale.
project didn't offer us anything new. I don't see anything worthwhile in it.
Yeah, it's not new, but so I'm using, for instance, LM Studio to run my local models, and this LM Studio, I think it's entithyfying itself. So I'm glad there is an alternative.
Meister Chica says,
I don't mind Olama providing cloud models.
Yeah. But Olama, it's not something they do, but there is something in this project that makes me kind of skeptical about this, about Olama specifically. This LM Studio, see, Enterprise, Careers, LM Link, those are all paid features. They started pushing them some time ago. Olama, I don't think Olama does anything like that yet. Well, they do have pricing, but the free Olama is not it's not obnoxious with the advertising. It's usable. Yeah. I don't know. I know that this guy, PewDiePie, he was very into AI models, so I guess he has a lot of experience. You know, he has a lot of following, so I think it can evolve into something pretty nice. We'll see. Time will tell.
You can get decent automatization from Olama free cloud usage. Gosh,
Oh, wow. Free cloud usage? Nice. I thought only venture capital funded companies offer free tokens. What is this? I have no idea. Okay. I guess the subject works as intended. The last one is seed fill.
yeah.
This is supposed to
You
be a
get some
bug.
free usage from Olama, but you also don't have access to all their cloud models. Also, open code go hits home for their pricing.
I'm not sure what this is meant to do. I mean, I guess I know this is a paint bucket, and it's supposed to spill over image, but it only works in this bottom part. Oh, this is seed field binary.
Design by Case says,
I'm new here. What are you making?
So this is you get rid of this stuff. This is a game automation app. If you have games like MMO games mostly, they typically have, they call them game loops. So it's a repetitive thing that you do as a player in a game. All games have this. Like, this is normal. All games are built around game loops. But sometimes game loops are meant to slow you down or to kind of force you to repeat some action over and over, like grinding gold in an MMO or killing monsters repeatedly in Diablo. So here you get access to a bunch of objects that you can essentially combine together to perform all sorts of actions. So this is capture the contents of windows. You can do some optical character recognition on them. Oh. See, there was this is Automat. Almost like Automat. And there are bugs. You can record macros. You can play them back. So my mouse moves. My hands are here. It's a tiny utility for automating games. And I can hook up hotkey. So when I press space, it will play my macro.
Meister Chica says,
What the heck happened with Algora?
It kind of disappeared. I do not know. We have a Discord, but the Discord is kind of dead. There is only spam there right now. Yeah, I need to figure out the background issue. Okay. I'll write some more comments for the AI.
Apparently it's recruitment service now.
Dove's Live says,
Can we add a randomization element at runtime to the specified automation pattern?
Ha! And there is a cool trick there. So if you want to program logic here, you need to use those cards. The cards have instructions, all sorts of instructions. And the way you do randomization is using rdrand instruction. So this is actually, pull this up. This is actually randomizing contents of a register. This is the only way to randomize stuff in Automat right now. I need Python or something like that, or JavaScript. This is all half finished. Those objects are, they represent an assembler, so you can chain low-level instructions here. I can do this. And this way I can flip a coin, basically. I'm randomizing a register, I'm checking the last bit, and if it's 0, I'm jumping through here. If it's not 0, I'm jumping through here. Yeah, writing logic is kind of tricky right now. It's going to get better. I feel with this AI slop, we can probably push it a little bit ahead, because I've been working on this for like 3 years now. And now I think these AI generated widgets, even though they are kind of crappy, they can accelerate the development a lot. And they are just a good starting point, even if there is nothing bad about them existing here. I can still remake them in a polished fashion later, if I need to. I mean, some of them I really want to remake, like the crop. Anyway, crop tool can be improved so much. This will come, this will come. Yeah, it's on GitHub if you want to play with it. Okay. Image editing. I want this whole thing to be fairly low level still. Of like assembler and everything. I want the user to be able to specify that when an operation happens in place, there should be no copies. And in place is the perfect situation. And if the output size is wrong, okay. Yeah. I also wanted to mention how the connections should work.
Designed by Case says.
So a competitor to Automat and AutoHotkey?
Yeah. I wouldn't say a competitor, because I still use AutoHotkey myself. I do not know Automat though, so this is a new one.
The Fox Live says.
I don't mean randomizing the result, but rather randomizing the iteration process during execution. For example, action 1 sec, action 1 sec, second round 1.1 sec, action 0.9 sec, action 1.2 sec. Action 1.26. Adding a floating random component to automation is valuable in situations where automation is easily detected in games, if the pattern
Okay.
remains the same.
First, this needs a longer statement. If the game actually tries to detect automation, then it's probably a multiplayer game, and automating this game is probably breaking it for other players. It's probably not a great thing to do. Just from the start. But it depends on the game. There are games which kind of abuse this. They kind of force really players to do absolutely pointless grind, so it's really not black and white. There are some multiplayer games that I think should be automated, but some of them should not, like first-person shooters and so on. No. There it really kind of kills the fun of playing the game. And this kind of automation with dynamic weights, not yet, but this could come. We have this object called timer that can wait a variable amount of time. So I think if I hooked up this text field, I think I can, no, I cannot. If I hooked up this, the length of this text field to some random number generator, that could be, for example, an assembly register. Like this.
This is more about grind automation. It's what I see as a problem in many games that are stifled by their developers.
Yeah, tons of games like that. This is often a design choice, a conscious design choice by game developers. The repetition is one of the factors in the addictiveness of a game. A game without repetition is not addictive. So yeah, if I could hook up a random number from this register to this, which is doable, absolutely doable, then yeah, and it will be possible.
Meister Chica says,
Metro series.
I haven't played that one.
Designed by Kai says,
How else are they going to keep one engaged?
Yeah, this is why I say like game loops are like the foundation of every game. It's chess has game loop, right? You move, enemy moves, you move, enemy moves. And then there is the larger scale game loop where you play multiple games.
Meister Chica says,
I still haven't been able to get Artyom to save Moscow.
There is... So, in Automat there are those implicit arguments. You can see a radar around macro recorder, right? When I move it around, it shows this window saying timeline. When I bring it to the timeline, it starts drawing a line. It's very subtle, it's hard to see on this background, but there is a faint red line here, which gets longer the closer I am. And when I touch it, it connects. And now it's connected. I actually think this should be changed. Maybe this connection should be implicit. There should be a line here with implicit connection, but I should be able to grab it myself and connect it elsewhere. Ah. And the explicit connection should work at any distance, yeah. Yeah, I think I will change how connections work a little bit, so it's possible to have... So it's easier to manage implicit connections. Okay, I will leave this out of feedback because it's going to mess up with AI too much. Okay. I guess this is it for today. On the next stream, I plan to do something different. I will leave the AI working. The AI will probably fix all of those bugs, introduce some new ones. On the next stream, I want to play with a new visualization algorithm. I'll probably explain it on the next stream. Basically, I want to create a kind of synthetic string that will vibrate. I think there are some places where it could be used in the UI to demonstrate some things. Yeah, I think it will be a very nice music visualizer, for instance. Yeah. Anyway, that was the plan for next stream. The plan for today was to collect feedback for AI so that it can continue improving the pipeline, can continue working on and cranking out new objects.
Speaking of Metro, I told my wife if global political situation does not calm down, I will name our first son, if we get one eventually, Artyom Kurnich.
I guess I should play the series. You know, you told me about Bitburner, and I still play it. I mean, there is so much depth to this game.
Just in case.
Anyway, finishing this game is not going to be easy. And maybe 15% in. Anyway. I got to go and grab some food. See you in 2 days. Bye-bye.
B2Do, you can waste Automat free usage on Bitburner.
Diox Nexus says.
Saya.
Yeah, bye-bye.